Hi guys, and welcome to our Instrument of the Week portion of our lesson. Today we're going to learn about the piano. The piano is a really cool instrument because it's a really weird combination of percussion and strings, and it's kind of in its own subgroup called the keyboard. Now you might be thinking, I can't see a piano by you. That's because you guys are on my piano right now, so listen. Yikes, not a fun sound. Let's make some prettier sounds, kind of learn more about what a piano is. Let's go.
This is the piano that we have here in the Tomac Eastern Music Room. So, as you can see, a piano is this huge instrument that consists of these white keys and black keys. It's made of wood for the most part. We've got a little stand right here, and that's where musicians put their music so that they can play. You have a seat here. Usually there's a bench here for that. And then if you look down here, there's also some pedals because piano players can actually use their feet while they play. So this is what a piano is. Most of you have probably seen it before. You may have heard the term grand piano before too. This one is not a grand piano, and I'll tell you why. Grand pianos are huge. They have a huge back section to them, and ours does not have that. So that's why ours isn't a grand piano. I was just wondering, how exactly does a piano make noise? And no, it's not because Baby Yoda uses the force on it. Let's take a peek inside of the piano and see what we have going on here. Whoa, super fancy. We've got some metal. We've got some fuzzy things down here. We also have, most importantly, a whole bunch of metal strings here. So let's kind of see what happens when I play the piano down here and the strings up here. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna play this lowest note that we have right here and see what happens. Ready? What do you see happening right now? If you look, this fuzzy part right here goes forward while this fuzzy part pulls back away from the strings. So it's hitting those strings to vibrate and make that sound. If you've had me already, we've talked about how vibrations are needed to make sound, and this is how the piano makes vibrations. When you look at a piano, going from left to right, I know that this is my left because if I put my fingers up, I have an L here. The lowest note goes down here, and the highest note goes up here. It's so high you can barely hear it. So if I was to scale my fingers along this piano, watch. That's gonna make a low sound all the way up to a super high sound. So the strings do the same thing over here with these high notes. But as you can see, the strings are a little bit shorter over here, and if you look, the strings get longer and longer and longer the lower we get in our register. Now you might be thinking, okay, well there's white keys, there's also black keys. What is the difference? So the white keys are just for regular letter names in music, which we will learn. Every sound in music has a name that goes with a letter. So these keys would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Maybe thinking, oh, okay, you start in the middle of the alphabet there, Mrs. DeYoung. We'll learn about that eventually. These black keys are just a little tiny bit higher than the key next to them. So if this right here is a C, this black note here is just slightly. Do you hear that? This would be called a C sharp. We'll talk about sharps and flat in music class. This is a C sharp because it's just slightly higher. It's just not quite high enough to get all the way to a D. So that's the workings of a piano.
So when musicians play the piano, they use both of their hands to play. Their right hand, because it's closer to that right side of the piano, we talked about where the notes are really high, usually stays on the right side over there. And their left hand will usually stay on the left side over here. Piano players can play notes multiple ways. They can play just hit a single button or key, as we call it. That's why some pianos are called keyboards. They can hit just a single button like this to produce a sound, but they can also do something called a chord. A chord is when you hit multiple keys at the same time to make a really fun sound. So if I have 1, 2, 3 fingers down here, ready? Listen. Does it sound a little bit richer to you than just... You can kind of hear all those sounds together. This is called a chord. Let's try this one. So these are 2 different types chords. And all this chord is it's all three of those sounds put together like this. I'll show you from this angle. So if you look, I have my fingers on 3 keys. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Together. Now, Mrs. Young is not using good posture with her hands right now, but that's okay. So that is what it's like to play piano. Now I'm gonna go ahead and play a little Christmas song for you because I know it is the holidays. Baby Yoda loves the holidays. Our holiday of the week this week is not Christmas, but I'm gonna play you a little Christmas ditty on the piano. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, thank you for listening. Let's move on to the next section of our lesson.